Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this 30-minute webinar on Secrets of Using Equator to Grow Your Business. My name is Mia Simo, and I'm the Manager of Agent Relations here at Equator, and I will be your host. Our presenter today is George Roletter, Vice President of the Equator Agent Team. He has some really great information to share with you today on the do's and don'ts of using your Equator Agent portal. Also behind the scenes, we have Nick Brito. You probably recognize his name from the emails that you received. Nick is going to help answer some questions that you're going to type into the question box. Nick is our supervisor of the agent development team, so he's very, very knowledgeable in the product. Before we get started, just a few items to go over. All attendee lines are muted. Everyone is in listen-only mode, but we encourage you to ask questions. So you will see a question box on your screen. Just type in your question there. During the last 10 minutes, we will address any common questions so that everyone can benefit from the answer. We are also sensitive of everybody's time, so we will try to keep this to 30 minutes. But if we run out of time to address your question, we will answer directly via email today. We will be emailing everyone on this webinar a link to this presentation so you can view it on YouTube. At the end of this webinar, we will also provide you a phone number for our technical support team and also our agent sales and agent development team. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to George.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for attending our webinar this month on some agent best practices on Equator. We know that your schedules are very busy. We're going to stay within this 30-minute time frame and leave an area at the end of the webinar for questions so that we can address everything that you may come up with during the webinar. We're going to talk about a few things today. And before I start, on our last webinar, and we've been doing these just about every month now, we had some folks who were, very good marketers, very skilled. And they said, this is very basic information. So I want to caveat all this and say, if you are an incredible marketing strategist and genius and you feel that you're the best agent marketer in your field or area, this is going to be pretty basic for you. But if you're not, we're going to try and give you some direction here. And these are very easy to understand, things that you can execute today, things that will make you stand out and get noticed more by asset managers on Equator. And that's the whole point of this, is really to stand out and make your advertising work for you and get those impressions. So we're going to talk about first impressions. We're going to talk about marketing strategy on Equator. We're going to talk about system communication, and finally working a property, which I know you're all interested in. So let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about the first most important thing that drives the first impression for you as an agent on Equator. Now, stepping back for a minute, asset managers, when they have a property to work on Equator, and this happens a lot, we have over 70,000 active properties. Properties are being loaded every single day. There's still a lot of activity. In certain zip codes, tremendous amounts. Asset managers use agent search to select their agent. Now, there's a lot of talk on social media about the asset managers already know who they want to use, etc. That's true in some cases, but we can tell you that in other cases, actually almost 20% in some areas, asset managers choose a new agent they've never worked with before. And that is the point of the advertising on Equator. Whether you advertise or not, you're going to show up in the search engine. There's different rankings for the results, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But when you show up in search results, just like when you Google or you use Yelp and you search, there's certain images that you notice more than others. There's certain images that make a really good impression on you more than others, just like the properties that you list and market online through other websites. That first image means a lot. It's going to get the attention of that customer. In this case, get the attention of that asset manager. So your profile picture should be a very professional headshot of yourself. It should stand out. It should be bright. It should be clear. Now, a lot of you may say, duh. Well, you'd be surprised. We see a lot of images on Equator still that are not what you're looking for if you want to stand out and make a good first impression. You want to make sure this picture displays correctly. Make sure that it's oriented right. Make sure that it's bright and it pops. You know, take your profile picture and go ahead and look at it in a small fashion. Maybe put it in a Word doc. Does it stand out to you? Would it catch your attention? You know, these seem like small things, but sometimes the small things matter the most. So make sure that you have a really impactful picture. A little bit more on the profile picture. You know, you don't want to use your logo because you're competing against people. So the logo is just going to stand out as something that really doesn't fit. You don't want to use an old or informal photo. So let's not use pictures of yourself at a party or pictures of yourself hanging out on vacation. You know, asset managers want to hire a professional agent. So don't use an informal photo. Don't use a group picture or a family portrait. And also, don't use low quality files. So we've seen pictures of agents with their pets, pictures taken very far away, pictures of agents with their family. We know that these things are all important, and we're not saying they're not. But go ahead and use a very professional headshot that stands out, that is bright, that makes the best impression for you. You're going to get the asset manager to look at that more often than not. All right, let's jump ahead to the capability summary. So not unlike Google, when asset managers search for agents, they see your picture and they see your search listing. And right next to your picture is your capability summary. And that is the overall summary of your capabilities and experience. Be specific and competitive in your summary. Okay, don't just write it and say, be generic and say, I'm an agent, got 10 years experience, this or that. Sit and think, okay, is what I wrote, if I read this compared to another agent, do I look different? Do I look better? What certain specific aspects of my local neighborhood that I might have in terms of experience, skills, or insights that another agent wouldn't have? So be specific about you. Be specific about your market. Be so specific that if you read it and you said to yourself, compared to other agents around me, would I stand out and look unique and different? It's important to make it unique to you and to make you have a competitive advantage against the other agents. You can get some information online by searching other tools and taking a look at other agents' capabilities and experience on other websites. Later this year, probably by the middle of this year, we'll also allow you the ability to search for yourself, and you'll see the other agents and competitors in your field. This is something that a lot of agents have asked us for. It is in development, and it will be launched this year. You want to highlight accomplishments and skills that are unique to you. Again, not generic information, not a high-level conceptual brag sheet about how great you are. I'm not going to get into anything political, but you guys know what I'm saying. Let's be very, very specific about your accomplishments, your skills, and how you're competitive. All right, let's take advantage of some of the added value that you have on Equator. Do complete the agent certification course. If you're Agent Elite, and Agent Elite includes the certification course now. For those of you who may have been at Equator and are coming back, and this is the first you've kind of heard of some of the advancements we've done, EQ certification used to be sold for $399. It's a training course, and it also provides you a badge and a higher search ranking in that asset manager agent search. EQ certification is now part of Elite, and Elite is the same price. Elite also gives you REO Alerts, Market Insights, and discounts and other great things we're making. And we'll get into that in a second. But complete your certification course if you're Elite, because if you don't, then the badge will not appear on your agent search listing. And you want that badge to appear. We were recently at a conference last week, a small conference locally, and an asset manager told us verbatim, I look for the badge. Because the badge tells the asset manager that you know how to work on Equator. You're going to be efficient for them. We're not going to run into problems about how you can't use the system or how do I do this. Obviously, we're always here to help you. But the badge tells the asset manager, you know what you're doing, let's get to work. Also, use REO alert messages intelligently. This REO alert product has given us so much positive and, to be honest, negative constructive feedback. It's been great. Why is that? Because never before, on a consistent basis, has Equator communicated to agents when REOs are ready to be listed, and that an asset manager is going to search for an agent. We do that now. And going back to what I said earlier, some zip codes are incredibly active. So some agents are getting alerts every single day, multiple alerts over the course of the night, etc. Use REO alert messages very, very intelligently. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few slides. All right, premium placement. Also, a little bit of confusion on premium placement and alerts. I'll say again, premium placement is advertising by zip code that raises you up in search results so that you get more impressions from the asset managers searching for agents in your local area that you've advertised in with premium placements. So advertising is all about, the view space. You want to put yourself in front of asset managers as many times as you can. And premium placement does that for each zip code that you buy. So add or buy into premium placement for zip codes that you want to do more business in. Now, obviously, you want to make sure there's business there, so you can use your market insights. We'll talk about that. But if you want more business in certain areas and there's activity, buy premium placement in those areas. And they're very, very affordably priced. The highest premium placement is $13.50 a month right now. One listing would pay for that. Even if you don't get a listing, you're going to get a lot of impressions from the asset managers. So there's value there, whether you get a listing or not. But we do understand that the goal is a listing. That's how you guys make money. Don't assume that services will find you in your local area. Equator, not unlike general real estate, very, very competitive. And when you go into the premium placement buying experience, or we can help you over the phone and consult with you and walk you through that, you're going to see the exclusivity for each zip. Some zips will allow 15 agents to purchase premium placement. Some will allow a little bit less, a little bit more. It's based on the activity of the zip. But it will tell you how many are left and who you're competing with. Now, when you see that, let's talk about that for 1 second. Let's say there's 5 spots left in 15 premium placements for a zip code. That means that there's 10 other agents ahead of you right now. You're probably not being seen unless that asset manager scrolls down to find you. Not unlike Google, right? All the research tells us that by the bottom of the first page of results on Google, less than 1% of the clicks. The top listing is up to 30% of the clicks. So where you rank in that list really matters. You want to expand in a certain area, buy the premium placement, move up, get more impressions, and put yourself in a place to potentially get a listing. So use premium placement in those areas where you really want to compete and grow. Don't ever assume that you have the market cornered. Like I said earlier, in some areas, up to 20% of the assets are asset managers choosing a new agent they have never worked with before. So don't assume that you got it covered. There's always agents coming in and competing with you. Don't sit back and wait for listings. We get a lot of feedback that say, hey, I bought Agent Elite, I bought premium placement, I haven't got a listing yet. Okay? This is advertising. And we're trying to build value for you in 3 areas: knowledge, intelligence, and business. Okay? Knowledge, intelligence, and business. And business is impressions. How many times are the asset managers seeing you? Do they know who you are? Are you there for them even to choose you if they had to? So that's what we're basically obsessed with every day, is trying to draw value in those 3 areas. All right, let's jump ahead and talk a little bit about the Market Insights. So the Market Insights is also a product of Agent Elite, but this is the first time any agents have seen data and analytics on what's happening on Equator. Now, we all know what's happened in the macro market, but Equator also has been, there's been a reduction in foreclosures and REOs on Equator as well, but it has not been as dramatic as the macro environment, And now we tell you exactly what's happened for free nationwide on Equator. And not only do we tell you how many new REOs came in and how many got sold and how many are still active, we tell you how many needed renovation, how many were at auction, what was the average selling price, what was the average commission based on a 2% commission. Use it to gauge the volume in your market area or your farming area, as they call it for agents. When you're agent elite, you can drill down all the way to the county level. So you're going to know in the counties that you farm exactly what's happening on Equator, and then you can make educated choices on where you want to advertise. You'll also be one of the educated agents in the area. If you do regular real estate or if you only do default, you're going to know exactly what's happening on Equator. Equator is 30% of the market. So you're going to be very, very educated and intelligent for your customers on what's happening in default on Equator. Don't assume that low activity means no activity forever. As you guys know, it's a constantly changing marketplace. So Market Insights, and it's published every single month, gives you an idea of what's happening and how the changes are occurring. Use REO Alert info to inform premium placement selections. So this might be a little bit complicated for some, but I'll try to make it very, very simple. So REO Market Insights gives you data and analytics for a county, and you may farm and work in multiple counties. So now you understand what's happening in that county. REO Alerts, and we'll talk a little bit more about these in a second, gives you the real-time activity of properties that are ready to be listed. So REO Alerts tell you this is happening now. Asset managers are going to choose an agent. Don't obviously disregard the data. You know, this is kind of like pulling back the curtain, right? We're trying to be as incredibly transparent for you so that you understand the value of Equator as you think about your business. Now let's talk a little bit about, I jumped ahead. Sorry about that. What we wanted to say here is just reinforce a couple things. Equator as a marketing strategy, premium placements, agent elite, REO Alerts, Market Insights, they're part of a marketing strategy. We get a lot of feedback from agents that buy our products and sit back and wait, and I really want to address this head on. You know, we are building products to give you 3 areas of value: knowledge, intelligence, and business. Okay, and business is impressions and it's listings. Equator's marketing products are not the end-all, be-all. Okay, they should be part of an overall strategy for you. And in last month's webinar, we talked about things like networking and other things that you can do using LinkedIn and other ways to help yourself create a holistic marketing strategy of which Equator is a part. Now we're going to talk a little bit about REO Alerts. So REO Alerts, again, are alerts or notifications to agents when a property is uploaded and ready to be listed. Agents are generally assigned on average in 2 to 3 days. So we provide agents the opportunity to respond to an alert and express their interest in listing the property. That doesn't mean you're going to get the listing. It means that you are communicating through an enhancement to agent search for you and other agents that participate in alerts and respond that you are interested. The second part of alerts is that you can reply with a very specific capability note for that specific property. So don't ignore the alerts. There's very valuable information here. Whether you respond or not, don't ignore them, because you're going to have even more intimate knowledge of your local area by knowing where the opportunities are happening. And there may be areas of your county that are hotter than others. And you're going to be able to get real-time information on that and an archived list of all the REO alerts that you're getting. Follow and respond to alerts that work your zips. So REO alerts are based on the zips that you want to get notifications on. So you have the power. I want to see notifications of REO uploads ready to list in these zip codes. Now, what most of our smartest agents do is they use that information to then go and buy premium placements if they're not succeeding in certain zip codes of their counties. The alert note I talked about should be specific to that property. If you don't have specific capabilities for the property, then I'd suggest not wasting your time in writing an alert, right? So we talked a little bit about your profile capability summary. That should be very specific to your skills overall and how you're competitive against other agents. For REO Alerts, a very specific great response would be that home, that home has mud that slid down behind it because you drove by and you saw it. That's very specific information about that property that the asset manager, who may be states away from that asset, doesn't know or may not know. That's going to make you stand out. That's an impactful note. If you don't have something that specific, that unique, then I would suggest just responding interested or not interested if you're not, and moving on. Keep track of the alerts. As I said, as the alerts come online, you see a list of those. As they get assigned to agents, you see a list of those. Keep track of those and see, again, what areas are more active than others in your counties and how that's changing. We're going to do some things later this year that allow you to do that a little bit better with mapping and things like that. But it's important that you understand where the activity is and how it's trending. All right. Well, you finally got a listing, or you got another listing, right? It's the end-all, be-all. Again, we're trying to drive value in 3 areas: knowledge, intelligence, and business. Business is impressions. How many times are asset managers being exposed to you and your brand? And listings. And listings are what drive your income. We know how important they are. When you finally do get a listing, and it's important to know that new agents on Equator, right, they buy a lead, now they're informed, they're intelligent, they're knowledgeable, they're getting that value. They're also competing when they finish certification. They move up in the search rank, they're getting more impressions. But it does sometimes take time to get a listing. Even with up to 20% of the assets being assigned to a new agent in some areas, some agents have received a listing in as short as 2 weeks. Some agents, it's taken as long as 9 months. And we're not afraid to say that sometimes agents never get a listing. There's many, many factors about your success on Equator, just like any other real estate platform on the internet, digital or not digital, right? We're trying to allow you an opportunity to compete with other agents, expose yourself to the asset managers, and build your business. But again, we're not going to lie to you and say listings are guaranteed. They're not. These are advertising and promotional products that are meant to help you gain knowledge, be intelligent in your marketplace about default on Equator, and grow your business by increasing your impressions and getting listings. So when you do get a listing, you want to work your tasks very efficiently because you're graded and your performance is graded on Equator by our servicers. When you complete tasks late and you procrastinate, it affects your overall rating and your grade. Your percentage of your tasks being completed on time will go down, okay? And if you've had listings before on Equator, and this is informational for you and you're trying to just do a little bit better, I encourage you to call our development group, and they can discuss some of your grade with you. They can talk about ways to make it better, talk about ways that you can compete in your area. Use the system to communicate with asset managers about your obstacles or setbacks. So Equator is a closed system that allows you to have that one-on-one conversation with the asset manager working the property. You know, make sure that you're holistic in your communication and discuss the obstacles, setbacks, and what you're dealing with. Don't assume that lateness is acceptable. It really is not. So address the issue. If you have to be late, if a task is a few days but it's going to take longer, be straightforward about that. Be proactive about that communication, and don't assume that they're going to understand. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about your rating. And your rating is going to drive future listings and future business on Equator. Do not cheat the system. Only mark tasks complete, obviously, when they're complete. Gaming the system will not do anything for your agent score. All right, so that concludes our webinar this morning, and we have 5 minutes left, and I'd like to answer questions from the attendees. Again, thank you so much for your time. We'll have a phone number here up on the screen. If you have to go right now, please call in. We can help you with things like your grade. We can actually consult with you on all the items that we covered today if you can't do them for yourself. But let's take some questions now.
Okay, yes, we have several really great questions. Thank you for your interest, and I can see that a lot of people are paying attention. So first question is from Linda. She says, I'm getting many requests for consideration for a property, but are not in my zip code at all. Why? They're too far away from me. Why am I getting them?
That is a great question. And I'm going to make an assumption here. What is her name again?
Linda.
Hi, Linda. I'm going to make an assumption here that you're in a rural area where potentially the agents are not as close to the properties as in metropolitan areas, in some like southern Florida. So in that case, there are areas of the country on Equator where asset managers don't have a lot of agents, and they have to choose or at least ask the agent to consider listing a property for them that might be farther than the agent has expressed they want to work. So the asset manager is still going to try and still going to reach out and say, hey, can you take this property that may be 20, 30, 40, 50 miles away, because they need agents. So this is a great case where you have asset managers who have needs, and you have certain areas in the United States where there's not as many agents, or the agents are far from the property. So in those cases, you may get requests to list properties that are farther than you want to work. And my advice would be, that's a personal decision for you, whether you want to go ahead and take the property and you can work it effectively and go ahead and sell it and make that commission, even though it may be farther than you want. And I'd say go for that, because especially if it's a new servicer, that's a new relationship for you, and you can develop that and hopefully turn that into more listings that are closer. So hopefully that answers the question, Linda.
Yes, and also I think what we maybe missed telling everyone is that automatically your county is turned on. All the zip codes are turned on. So if you're in a rural area and you're in a county that has several zip codes, they're all turned on automatically. You can simply go back in and turn off the zip codes that you feel are too far for you to service, and then you won't get the alerts on those.
Really good point. Thank you, Mia.
Okay.
Next question.
Jay is asking, how do you get a ranking if you don't have any opportunities? And can I see my ranking?
That is a great question, Jay. It's one of the top pieces of feedback we get is like, what is my rank? I want to see the search. Who are the other agents in the search competing with me? We take that seriously. I mentioned earlier we're developing a product called Agent Self-Search that will show you your ranking. You can search cities, zips, and you can see exactly where you rank, and it'll explain why you rank that way. And basically, here's how it works. If you have Agent Elite and you have premium placement in that zip code, and the search is for that zip code, you are in the highest ranking. You are at the top of the list. You may not be the only agent in that list. And in those cases, we sort by tenure, how long you've been on the system. Now, other asset managers will sort by distance and proximity to the property. And we're doing some product development efforts under proximity, focusing more on driving distance that you'll see this year as well. But you're going to have a product where you can go ahead and search yourself and see the ranking and why it is that way. If you want to know what that is now, then I would suggest you call into the development team, and they'll do that for you, and they'll talk you through that. But that product is coming. Now, there was another part of the question that I'm afraid I might have missed.
How do you get rankings if you don't have any opportunities?
Opportunities.
I guess if you haven't sold the property, you have no history of Equator, how do you get rankings? the rankings are by the
Yes.
premium placement and
Correct.
education.
So this is a great question, though, kind of twofold. Whether you've sold a property on Equator and you have metrics, like grading metrics, on-time task performance, sales to listing percentage, these are some of the things that you are, or data and information that you're tracked on, your performance. If you've sold a property on Equator, you have those. If you haven't, obviously you don't. That's irregardless. When you buy Agent Elite and Premium Placement, or you buy Premium Placement, your ranking is impacted by those investments or marketing investments on Equator. Now, you may say, well, let's say I'm at the top of the list and I have no metrics. And I'd say that is correct. And we are also working on other enhancements to the system to allow you to bring in your other MLS listings and drive some of that performance so the asset manager can see, all right, maybe they've never worked for me, but they do sell homes and they do well selling homes. So I should consider you. But that doesn't exist today. If you buy into the marketing products on Equator, you will move up in the rank, even if you don't have performance metrics on Equator yet. And you will be able to see that in a product later this year. If you want to know what it is now, call into development. And you will be able to compete for listings. And like I said before, in some areas, up to 20% of the selections are new agents. So you do have an opportunity.
Okay, great. So Julie wants to know, as you're talking about photos, what if you're a husband and wife team?
That's a great question.
But you're working in Equator as a single agent, so it's your single account.
Well, here would be my recommendation on that. If your brand is both of you, 2 of you, 3 of you, I think that's okay to take a professional profile picture of the both of you together. Now, what I would suggest is working with our development team to either change the name of your account in your search listing to both of your names, if that's how you present yourself in your marketplace, or if you just use one name and that's your business, I would put that in the capability summary. Okay, I would, again, be very specific about your skills and capabilities and competitive advantage of both of you, but I would put that in the capability summary complemented by a professional profile picture of the both of you. I think that would be the best way to go there.
Okay, so we're at the end of the 30 minutes.
Can I do one more? Let's do one more question.
Absolutely, and I think this is good. Gary wants to know, how do you move up with premium placement?
Okay.
How does that actually work?
It's a great question. So I'll do this quickly in the respect for your time. Okay, there's basically 4 tiers in search. The highest tier, which is the highest rank, is an agent who has Agent Elite and Premium Placement. Now, if they've completed certification, they also have the badge. So you're at the top of the list with the badge. The second tier down from that is Premium Placement only. You're not Agent Elite, you've just bought Premium Placement in that zip code. That's the next tier. The next tier after that is Agent Elite only, and you did not buy Premium Placement. And then the fourth and last tier are agents that have no marketing products that they've purchased on Equator. Now, the tiebreaker in each of those tiers is tenure, how long you've been on Equator. So that's basically how the tiers work.
Okay, we have so many more. We have out of time. We're out of time.
Well, let's at least answer all these questions on paper and send it out to the attendees or something like that.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so you can see that we have the phone number on the screen that you can call to answer the questions, and that's the agent development team. And that phone number is area code 424-220-1197.
Now, in closing, out of respect for your time and to thank you today for your attention, we know that you're extremely busy. We do have a discount for you to take advantage of. and that is premium placements 25% off for 3 months or $100 off Agent Elite. Now, that's an annual subscription. So that's literally $20, $25 a month to understand the market insights, all of the activity in Equator for your local areas and counties, get REO alerts on any property being uploaded and respond and communicate through the search engine with the asset manager, as well as Equator certification, finishing that course in the badge. So we've been very aggressive about this pricing. We hope you take advantage of it today and try us out for a year. Again, we are always here to help you do the best that you can on Equator, and we're very, very thankful for your time and your business today.
You know, we still have several people that are on the line. So, George, do you want to keep going? And anyone that's still interested in staying on to answer a few more questions, we can do that.
No problem.
Okay, great. Let's keep going. All right. So, okay, let me get to my question page.
I'm ready.
I know. I don't know. Okay, Nick, why don't you pick some questions to ask? Somehow my screen has just changed on me.
All right. You're going to have to give me a minute here. I'm in the middle of typing to a couple people. Give me a second. Let me go back up.
Okay, how about this one? Can you please elaborate on the verbiage for REO alert responses?
Sure, no problem. And I assume this agent, thank you for your question. What's her name? Gary. Hi, Gary. The note is what we're focused on right now. And I'll elaborate by giving an example, again, of a good note. So, you know, in some areas, the volume of REO alerts is significant. It's high. In other areas, they come and they go. Once every few days, maybe once a month, depending on the area of the country. And my response to the agents where there's a lot of activity, and they say, geez, I'm responding to all these alerts. I'm not getting all the listings. And again, remember, responding to alerts doesn't mean you're going to get the listing. It's a marketing opportunity. It's a additional feature in your search result that says, it calls you out and says, I'm interested and I have specific information about this property. So let's address the note, which is your question. Thank you, Gary. The note should be specific to the property and specific to knowledge or skills that you have about that property. So I used an example earlier of a mudslide at the back of a home that maybe the agent noticed because they drove by, or they know that property. They live in the area. You all are great agents. You know your local areas. You know what's happening. Sometimes the asset manager isn't even in the same state as that house. So a great note would be something that they would not know, something unique about that property. Another good one is, I sold a property 3 doors down from this REO alert last month. 4 buyers missed out, and it's almost the same floor plan. I think I can sell this home quickly. That's a great note. That separates you from everybody else, and it says to that asset manager, you should strongly consider me. Now, again, doesn't guarantee you'll get the listing, but it's a great opportunity to market yourself to the asset manager. Thanks, Gary.
Here's another one from Jamie, and I think this is a really great question. So I was an agent for Equator several years ago and would like to reconnect with some of the asset managers I used to work with. Is there a way to get a list of the asset managers? Now, we can't provide the list of asset managers, but if you've already done business with the asset managers, you can go back, search your sold properties in Equator, your sold properties, click into that property, and you have all the information that you had. You just get the email information and any contact information from the asset manager. Now, they may have moved on to another servicer or another outsourcer, but that's the first step. So Equator provides all this information. We keep all your sold properties in the search tab on your screen. Okay. Nick?
Yes.
Wow, these are all about Does being a women-owned small business help?
Well, I mean, I guess, I could quote, yeah. I mean, I'd say, does it help in your market? Yes. Does it help on Equator? Yes. I mean, it's always a factor.
I think it doesn't hurt. And
diversity is great.
Diversity is
Women-owned businesses are great.
Yeah,
some of our servicers are really focused on that. So short answer, yes. And a little bit longer answer, that's a competitive advantage you have. Be specific about that and promote yourself in that way.
Okay. Laura wants to know, what is the range or miles from the office that servicers will assign?
That's a great, what is her name, Laura?
Yeah.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for your question and joining us today. That really depends on the geographic area. As I was saying earlier, in some rural areas, it's basically whatever agent can take the property, to be honest with you. In other areas, very condensed metropolitan areas, it's so close that every agent is within 2 miles, and it kind of becomes not an irrelevant number. We're all close. But generally, I mean, Mia, what would you say? I mean, asset managers are looking for agents that are close to the property.
Right. So from my experience as an asset
manager. You've been an asset manager, right?
GMAC many years ago. But we had a 20, 25-mile radius. But there's always exceptions. In rural areas, they will go out further. So if you live in a rural area, don't be discouraged because they do make exceptions. But generally, it's 20 to 25 miles. Okay. I received several REO alerts and respond within an hour that I'm interested. However, the listing was assigned to another agent. Any idea why?
This is also a great question. Who asked this one?
Vladimir.
Hi, Vladimir. Thank you for joining us today. We get this question a lot. Is speed a factor in answering the REO alert? And the short answer is no. Whether you respond in a second or an hour, the important piece is that you respond before the asset manager uses agent search, because that's where your response is communicated to the asset manager. When they search for agents for that particular property, which is the alert that you received, when they see the agent search results, the agents that responded will have their response on their search result, the others will not. So it makes you stand out a little bit more. It makes you get more impressions. If you have a specific note, it's right there next to it. They can roll over it and read your note and consider you. But as long as you respond before they use the search engine, your response will be seen by the asset manager. Now, the reason you didn't get the listing, I can't really pontificate on that. There's many, many factors that go into it. All I can tell you is don't lose the faith. We're very transparent about what we offer. We're giving you, we hope, affordably priced advertising on Equator that allows you to get more impressions, build your brand, and hopefully get more listings. But we don't guarantee listings. As I said before, some agents have gotten a listing in 2 weeks, some in 9 months, some never get a listing. It's just a fact of advertising. But they do get value in the knowledge that they have on their marketplace in default. They do get value on intelligence and what's happening with those properties. They do get value in terms of impressions and brand building with asset managers. And some also get listings and have a good business on Equator.
Okay, great. Linda wants to know, do we need to be registered with Zome or NationStar, affiliates of AltaSource, to increase our chances of being assigned an asset we've responded to in the REO alerts? This is Linda.
Hi, Linda. Thanks for your question. The answer is no.
Well, first of all, Zome and NationStar are not affiliates.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you.
HubDo, on the other hand, is an affiliate of AltaSource.
But any affiliate relationship that you have today, whether it be with an AltaSource business unit or another company, will not influence your ranking or marketing on Equator.
Okay. All right. I think we've gotten through quite a bit of them, of these questions, and like I said, we will email you the answers.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to thank you again for your time. We understand how busy you are. We are deeply committed to being the #1 partner for you in default. We're deeply committed to helping you grow your business by creating valuable products and marketing for you. We appreciate the feedback, the questions, and the engagement today. If you haven't taken advantage of our discounts before, here's your opportunity today. We're getting a lot of calls right now. We are there to help you. The discount codes are there if you want to do this online by yourself, but obviously we are always here to help consult with you so that you can put your best, most competitive marketing strategy forward. And we wish you a really great day. Thanks again for your time, and we hope that today is a great business day for you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.